Thank you very much.
All right. Now you can see that this is a spring, okay, and then at the end of the spring there is a mass, and then we have attached another spring here, okay. So it is a two spring system. This is one spring attached to the ceiling, and then this spring, then there is a mass, and then there is another spring attached to it. So from this you have already idea of having stiffness of a system. If suppose two springs are connected in series, what is the stiffness of that spring, combined spring? Or suppose the springs are connected parallelly, then what is the stiffness of the spring? So using very small experiments we can get convinced about those results. Those experiments can be done with this, okay. We have other experimental setup in a very bad situation. This is a very nice experimental setup, very old and not taken care due to this, because you guys are not coming to the lab. Who will take care? So this is a very interesting experiment. This is an experiment of gyroscope, okay. We will learn it in the theory class. So what happens when there is, suppose this is rotating, this is a disk. I have rotated the disk. I am trying to rotate it with a very high speed, and then suppose the axis of the disk you rotate it in some direction. What will happen when you try to rotate the rotational direction of this disk, rotational direction of this disk? Suppose this is the rotational direction of the disk. Now if you, the rotational direction, if you rotate it with respect to some other axis, if you rotate in some direction, then you will feel some. So the wheel is rotating like this. That means rotational direction is this, and you rotate that rotational direction. You rotate it. So due to that rotation, you will feel a moment in this direction, the perpendicular direction. Okay, how that is correct coming, and what actually that moment is, how we can measure it, that those things we will discuss in the theory class. Here we will measure and do practical example, okay. This is called gyroscope. So we have gyroscope is one experiment. Then we have this uh, whirling of shaft, experiment number 2. Then we have another setup here, not, we have another experiment here. Here this is a very simple setup where we have two strings. There also there is another string, and they are connected to one rod here, okay. And then you, if you oscillate this rod, disturb the rod will oscillate. From this oscillation frequency, actually from this oscillation time period, what we can do, we can find out, okay, observing this you can find out the time period. And from the mechanics of this, the governing equation, we can also find out the time period. Those time periods are dependent on the moment of inertia or radius of gyration of that rod. So we can find out what is the uh, moment of inertia or radius of gyration of this rod. In this case, rod is a uniform thing, so you can directly find out its moment of inertia from the formula. But suppose some object which is not even, which is some odd shape is there, then that shape, suppose in some mechanical system you have a odd shaped object, and that odd shaped object is subjected to some rotation. Due to that rotation, what will happen? So for that you need to know what is the moment of inertia or radius of gyration of that object. So what we can do, we can place that object here with 2 strings or sometimes 3 strings, and we can find out what is the radius of gyration for that. So these are the experimental setups right now available with Ash. We'll do experiments with this. Actually, how many setups we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 setups we have. We can do experiments. Actually, in this vibration setup, we can have 3 experiments. Okay. We will construct some more setups during this course to demonstrate you some of the principles of dynamics. Okay. So since you guys have not helped my TA to log in properly, he's not talking to me. So I cannot help. And when I came to the lab, I see all the wires are cut. You cannot help. The next day we will perform the lab. Before that, I need to correct all those setups. All right.
Yes, sir.
Any question you have? Hello.
सर
हाँ.
सर कुछ लोग का रिक्वेस्ट सेंड है सर, एक्सेप्ट कर लीजिएगा.
Okay, because I am operating from mobile, so that is why it's not visible to me. But I hope people are not waiting in the lobby.
So
All
you
of
can
you
give
have
the
joined.
No
you
sir,
so you
their
can give the
request is
host
sent
control
to
to
you.
Saurabh, one of the CR. You can give the host control. He will be able to handle.
No. So today I have changed the. Actually, I have changed the, what do you say, the setting of the system. So anyone can enter for today's lab class. I
Okay,
changed the setup. Anyone can enter. Nobody is waiting in the lobby according to my setup.
So there are two kinds of meetings. Like we were waiting in another meet. We were finding that in the app MS Team.
Huh?
So some people were in another meet.
I told you that this is a lab class. So in this lab class, I can see 72 attendant, 72 attendees are there.
So the link we joined from the group that you created in MS Team.
No. See, this kind of talk, you don't talk here. In the theory class only, I said that there are 2 kinds of links. For this lab class, there is another. This class is scheduled like this, and we have the theory class. For theory class, we have another team.
Okay, sir.
Why should I? Why should I have to repeat it again and again? It is given in the CR group. What the CRs are doing here? Eh? किसी दूसरे को CR
So it
बनाओ,
was
अगर
my
ये लोग
mistake.
CR
Sorry, sir.
CR
It
के
was my
काम अगर
mistake.
नहीं
it
कर
was
सकते
his
ये लोग,
mistake sir. We had
हाँ?
सर हम लोग सारा मैसेज फॉरवर्ड सही से कर दिए हैं सर, ये नहीं देखा था, तो इसमें हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं सर?
So anything related to class means technical things, you must discuss with your CR, then come to me. Okay? ठीक है? That's all for today. We'll do it from the next week. All right. Thank you.
Okay sir, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, sir.